Boleh tekan record lah. Sekejap. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Danial bin Muhammad Shamsani, and I introduce my group members, Amirun, Akmal bin Yahya. Today, our group want to present about mini project using BME280. So for this coding, we use library utime for the timer and machine to import our number pin, and second you request for request and import BME280 for the name of sensor. So for the sensor we use pin 22, pin 21, and the timer is 10,000. So for the device ID we use favorite and our cloud we use favorite IoT, webhooks for FITT, use net, and lastly ThinkSpeed. So for the classify the LED number, we use pin 18, pin 27, and pin 32. And for the coding, this we display temperature, humidity, and pressure. When the coding is at temperature below 25, the LED 1 will on, LED 2 and LED 3 is turned off. And if the humidity is below 80, so the print we set is cool and dry. And the temperature below 25, the LED 1 is on, LED 2 is off, and LED 3 is off. If humidity is above 80, it will display cool and humid. And lastly, if temperature above 25 and the temperature below 30, the LED 1 is on, LED 2 is on, LED 3 is off. If the humidity is below 80, the print will display acceptable. So if temperature below 25 and the temperature above 25 and below 30, the LED 1 is on, LED 2 is on, and lastly LED 3 is off. And let's say if the humidity is above 80, it will display as uncomfortable. And the temperature above 30, the LED 1 is on, LED 2 is on, LED 3 is on. If the humidity is below 80, display will say is hot and dry. And let's say the temperature is above 30, LED 1, LED 2, LED 3 is on. And the humidity above 80, the display will say hot and humid. If the sensor will not reading the all of what we say like the humidity, temperature, and all, the screen display will say is error reading. Okay, that's all from me. So next, for the explanation, I will pass to my group members, Amirun, Akmal. Thank you.
Reading favorite IT. So I want to explain. This is a body joint of Yusuf. No. This is a body joint of favorite IT. So flow the explain documentation for favoriteit.com, and then get a development if of from favorite, and then temperature from favorite documentation. Use any parameter to defend of the sensor data. Humidity from favorite documentation. Use parameter to define the sensor data. And pressure from favorite documentation. use parameter to define to sensor data. So next, reading workbook. This is a body joins for Google webbook. Uh, from iftt.com documentation temperature from iftt.com documentation use value x to define the sensor data. Humidity from iftt.com documentation use value x to define the sensor data. Pressure from iftt.com documentation use value x to define the sensor data. Yusufnet, IPIK Yusuf, temperature, Yusuf next documentation use value to define the sensor data. At the same, humidity and pressure at the same. So define to the sensor data. TeamSpeak. This is a body joins for TeamSpeak from temperature. TeamSpeak documentation use field X to define the sensor data, and humidity from TeamSpeak documentation use field X to define the sensor data, and pressure from TeamSpeak documentation used for the define the sensor data. And then what is this Daniel? Daniel?
Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit from TeamSpeak documentation use field X to define the sensor data. Alright, request header. Okay, this is a request header for the cloud service. Net API key for Federal IT need to add this line if we use Federal IT, and the next type application Jones universal line for using Jones header. Okay, all right. Respond webhook mm, request post URL webhook join reading webhook header request header. So respond webhook text print the text that sent to the cloud service, and then print respond webhook status code show the status code to make sure it's running okay or not. So print to device each cloud response. All right, and then for the favorite IT this is request post to the favorite service, and print the response favorite IT text print the text that are sent to the cloud service, and then respond show the status code to make sure it is running okay or not, and print a device each cloud response. Yusufnet request post to the Yusufnet service, and then respond print the text the send to the cloud service and respond Yusuf status code to make sure it's running okay or not. And TeamSpeak uh, uh, print the send and code service, show the status code to make sure to running okay or not okay. 2 seconds for delay. So I want to show your uh,
Result of the coding.
result after. So I want to show the result after coding runs upload for to the BME and ESP. So I will to start upload and I want to show your result.
Sorry to interrupt. Before we run the coding, we must connect the Wi-Fi for run the sensor.
So this result will be right. Alright. Alright. This variety platform. So now we to dashboard. So humidity now will show the result uh, pressure and temperature. Okay, datasheet. Okay, still running. Beside on the variety and wait, Yusuf next. So continue to temperature, humidity and pressure dalam pressure. So will be show the result at the same variety and BM datasheet. And last TeamSpeak. TeamSpeak is data transfer. Okay, find one chat. Humidity, humidity, pressure, humidity, and temperature. So that's all for me, and thank you.